Hello, folks. I'm here with another review here. This is not a new firearm that I purchased. This is actually an older firearm. I purchased this sometime in 1995 or 96 because that's when this shotgun came out. It came out sometime in 1995. At that time, it was listed as one of their flagship shotguns. This is the Mossberg 590. It's a very unique shotgun. This particular 590 is the Mariner edition. The Mariner edition is made for anybody who wants to take a shotgun onto boats or anything of that nature to deal with salt water conditions. One thing this was used for, this is not only used for military and police, they usually use this with the Coast Guard when they would do their drug interdictions, going on to boarding ships or boarding boats that are in areas of high drug trafficking. So that's how this firearm got popular, and it's also been popular for people that were just normally going out deep sea fishing who needed a shotgun for whatever uses they needed. One thing that's unique about the 590, it is a 9 shot shotgun. You can use 2 and 3/4 inch shotgun, excuse me, 2 and 3/4 inch uh, rounds and put those inside the tube, and you will have 9 plus 1. But if you're using 3 inch, you would subtract it by one, making it a 8 plus 1. I've heard of other variants of this, the 590s being 8 plus 1 or 7 plus 1. I believe that's probably due to maybe restrictions or of how much firepower you can have in the shotgun. Uh, One thing about this shotgun, it has been compared against the Remington 870, which is also a fine firearm, and also that the Remington 870s and the Mossberg's 500s have been doing battle for years for for your hard-earned money as a consumer. And by no means I'm going to say one's better than the other, but I prefer the Mossberg because I like some of the features on this particular shotgun and the other Mossberg variants. Let me start here on here. The first thing you're going to notice about the Mariner edition is the what this is kind of like a lot of people call it a stainless or a satin or gold color. This is basically a material that they call marine coat. Marine coat is a coating that is uh, not sprayed but probably put on, and this particular coating is is their processing of putting this on. It might be some type of not baked on, but it's a process that makes sure that this coating stays very well to help in resistance of salt water. The one thing about using this particular coating is it does leave the wear marks from when you pull the pump action slide back to chamber another shell. So that's one of the downsides, but it is a very good coat to prevent rust. Uh, Outside of the capacity, one thing about the 590s is the this portion right here, the receiver end, it is made out of aluminum. It is not steel. A lot of people complain and say, "Oh, I don't trust aluminum," but Mossberg has been doing this for years, and there are a lot of products out there on the market between cars and uh, other products that are out there that use aluminum, such as engine blocks and so forth. It has been proven, and it's been proven very well through testing. This particular 590 was put into the military test, and it's the only shotgun, far as I know, that has been able to pass that test of 3,000 rounds without any type of malfunctions, and it is also the military uses this shotgun, uh, and some police departments do. Now, the Remington 870, yes, is used by also probably some military branches as well as police. When I first started in the police academy, I started off with a Remington 870, but I preferred the Mossberg, and that's what my department uses now. They use a combination of the both. Other features on this shotgun is the ghost ring sights. It has a ghost ring sight here. I don't know if you can see it, but it is adjustable. There is a lever that you could turn, and I'm going to try to put it on the angle so you can see what I'm talking about. There is a lever here or wheel here that you can move around, and also for elevation. I don't think it does anything for windage, but it does for elevation, because the only thing you're going to do is look through here and to look at the blade front sight, which is really cool about this blade front sight here. It's red. It reminds me of some of the fiber optic firearms that are out there today in handguns. But this is by no means a fiber optic. It's just has that painted red or orange, and it gives you very good target acquisition, especially when shooting, let's say, targets at 50 yards with slug rounds. And I really like using this with slug rounds, whether they're like the spot type slugs or whatnot. It's very accurate, and with these sights right here, you're not going to miss. Uh, a couple other features I like about this is one thing I did forget about talking about the aluminum receiver. If there are, like I said, there are a lot of variants that Mossberg has. Uh, there is the Maverick, which I guess is their Econoline version. The They have a plastic receiver. Oh, I'm sorry, trigger guard. They have kind of like a plastic or some type of polymer trigger guard. This is a steel trigger guard right here, or aluminum type. Um, I believe it is steel though, steel trigger guard, but this is that type of trigger guard. So it's not like it's the polymer trigger guards or anything like that. So that's a lot of concern for a lot of people. What I like about this is the safety. Another difference between the Remington 870 and this Mossberg is I like the safety setup here. It's positive on, positive off, and it's at a flip of the switch here. When I used to do my qualifying, there was a button on the side that you just would depress, and then you would see it on the other side, it would be red. A lot of times when I was doing certain drills, I would fumble around looking for the trigger, but with my eyes on the target, I was not allowed to look for the trigger, and I tried to look for it. But that's a training issue, that's on me. So I'm not saying that's a flaw against Remington, but I prefer the way Mossberg has that. I like the bigger style safeties on here, and I prefer it, and that's what I like about the Mossberg. Another difference is here. This the slide release right here. With the slide release in this section here, I like it at the rear where it is. Some people complain because they feel as though that their finger or something's going to hit the slide release, or and they'll have a problem when they're racking the pump. They feel as though that their hand would hit here. On the Remingtons, they're up front. Uh, I didn't like the positioning because I would either have to move my hand in a certain position. Again, that's another training issue. That's on me. I have to, if I'm going to learn how to use these firearms, I will have to uh, know the functions and so forth when I'm using them. But that is, again, is a training issue. But there's nothing wrong with having a preference then thank goodness now we have the Mossbergs, which I prefer. Uh, Another difference that I've been told about the Mossberg and the Remington 870s is there's like an kind of like I would say like a lift that the 870s have. So when you are chambering around, you have to depress and then push your shell inside to load, depress and push. Some people had problems when they didn't put the shell in properly. The shell would pop out and you would have problems. They would lose the shell. Or some people who are wearing gloves would get their fingers, get the glove snagged inside when they're trying to chamber the tube here. With the Mossberg, what I like is you just put the shell in. But however, you still can get your glove caught in there if you're using gloves. But I prefer this style. It's open. There's nothing to obstruct it or put out the way. You just put your shell in, and then that's it. There are other features I do like about this is the coating. Like I said, it's very good. I had this stored away, and I want to tell you a little bit about the coating here. I had this stored away, and I put this in a closet, and I had it inside a case, like a soft case. Unfortunately, there was a leak in the closet, and I got a little bit of moisture right over here. I don't know if you can see that right there. And I just cleaned it up because I'm just cleaning it up now, and I'm going to do a thorough cleaning. But this had you could tell where the moisture had been. Well, that didn't ruin the finish so much. It was more of a cleaning issue, but that goes to show you that the finish is doing what it's supposed to do. It's preventing any type of corrosion or anything of that nature, and that's what this firearm is made for. It's specifically made so to uh, be able to protect itself from corrosion and give the consumer a long time to have this particular shotgun. A couple other things that is interesting about this shotgun is that I bought this shotgun in, like I said, around 1996. At that time, the price for this, and as you see, this is the original configuration. There's been no changes to this firearm at all. Uh, I spent $565 for this. That was a big deal back then. The new Mossbergs right now that includes a separate pistol grip with that, and I still think it's a reasonable price. It's at $678, depending on where you shop. But if you go to the Mossberg and Sons website, that's what you'll see. You'll see the price point at $678, and it included a pistol grip with it. Now there are all kinds of parts you can put on this. You can change this to a Magpul. I didn't know Magpul made a version of this that you could put a Magpul one with adjustable pieces that you can take out to meet your shoulder needs. So let's say this piece was here, you could take that out, but it's not just this piece. It's more here, and then you take them out gradually to suit your comfort at your shoulder level. Not only that, I've said there's pistol grips. There's everything you could do with that. Some of them you can buy four grips for this. Uh, some people usually I've seen people put scopes on top of these red dot scopes, but yes, this is what you can do with this Mossberg 590 Mariner and its variants. So getting back to this, I'm forgetting things. I'm sorry. This is a smooth bore right here. There is some other shotguns, of course, you have chokes for different shot patterns if you want to go hunting for birds or anything of that nature. But there are some other features that are in here. I want to try to rack this if I can on camera because I wanted to show you guys this. And it looks like I'm not going to be able to do it with one hand, so I'm going to pause this. Okay, I got that racked. I'm using, as usual, my cell phone to film this somewhat review here. But looking inside here, I wanted you to see inside here. This, unlike the Remingtons, this has a dual extractor. It has two extractors in there. And this portion right here, you'll see a screw right here. This right here, you're able to take out take that screw out and take apart the extractor to do some whatever maintenance that you need to do. On the Remington, it's built in. You're not able to take it out. You'll have to send it to a gunsmith to have that professionally done with a gunsmith. So you have to have that professionally done. Where Mossberg makes it very easy for you to do that. I've had no problems with this shotgun. Like I said, I'm just taking it out to get it back out and to shoot it again. And also for home defense, I got some situations now that I have to have my firearms ready. And this is what I like to use as a home defense. And like I said, this has also been proven by the military and police, and it will be it's proven as a good defender for that type of situation. I have a friend of mine. He doesn't use. I live in the city, so he uses something like Birdshot, whether it's a, let's say, I'm not sure of the number. I think he used number 7, and he recommended me to use like a number 7 Birdshot or a 4. I'm not familiar with my bird shots. I'm only familiar with double aught buck and only familiar with slug rounds. So I'm going to be looking into doing some investigation on that so I can have the proper type of load to put in here. The thing about it is, like I said, I live in the city. I live in row house, and you should not use something like buckshot or slug rounds because it's a safety factor. The safety factor being is, well, it could go through a wall, hurts your next door neighbor or something of that nature. So he's always used something like a birdshot or something of that nature to defend his home. And I know of a situation where a guy did have his wife use a shotgun. Someone broke into the home and they used birdshot from the shotgun, and she was able to defend herself while her husband was at work. The guy got arrested. That's another story. But yes, when there are certain aspects when you're living in the city you have to take under consideration, and that's one of them. And I'm not fortunate to live out in the rural areas where I could really have fun with these shotguns. I have to go elsewhere. Even with my rifle, I have to go roughly about an hour to 2 hours to really use my rifle or my shotgun effectively. But getting back to the shotgun itself, just to give you some other specs, information I stole from the website, its total length is going to be 41 inches in length, uh, and it has a 20-inch barrel. I'm very happy with it. I shoot pretty well with this, but it does have a kick to it. I don't want to change it from its configuration, so I'm just going to leave it alone. I'm not going to add anything else to it. I'm pretty much when I buy a firearm, I don't change anything too much from it. But if you want a really decent shotgun and you want something with a higher capacity, such as this one, which is a 9 shot, or I don't know what some people have different states with different rules for shotguns and what their capacity is. But if you really like a shotgun like this, uh, I highly recommend this one. The Mossbergs I always liked. I always been a fan of them, and it's a very outstanding weapon. Like I said, I fired it several times at the range. It's very accurate for at 50 yards. That was my qualifying. I've done that with this and with slug rounds. So it is a really good shotgun to have for home defense or maybe whatever you would like to do with your shotgun. Even though the Mariner might be the oddball from traditional shotguns, it's a great gun to have. So if you have any questions or anything uh, that you would like to send a message to me about, feel free to do so. Like or subscribe. And thanks for your time. Take care. Happy shooting.